Steven, which dynastic run annoyed you the most in sports?
Can it be any?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Does it have to be a team sport?
No, I mean, doesn't have to actually have to be sports either. If they're thinking like something like outside of the realm of sports, dynastic runs, like
the way Marvel kept on rolling out random Avengers movies, that's
not bad.
That was pretty annoying. That was an annoying dynasty.
Would you count like royalty like as dynasties?
No, like the monarchy.
Yeah, like like Margaret Thatcher. After a while, I was like, that's enough.
Yes, Derek, the 1970s English politics was the most annoying dynasty of all time.
I think so. I think most British people would agree with me on that one. It's like, this Iron Lady, that's enough of her.
This one, man, I'd say so. It's in the annoying stage, this Chiefs one right now. I think the one you go to immediately is the Patriots. The one in the NBA, for all the grief we may give for the Lakers just because we're Warriors fans, I think for now we respect it. But during the Patriots one, like when the Falcons ended up giving up that 28-3 lead, you're just kind of like, all right, they did it again. Like these damn Patriots. But
that was like two separate dynasties though.
Right. And you were at the stage where it's okay, I've come to accept it. Derek, I'll be honest. I spent 2 podcasts ago getting on my high horse talking about how everyone needs to accept that the Chiefs are going to win. And I'd be lying to you if I said yesterday I was emotional to the point where it sounded like how I sound after the Raiders lose. Like it was just Jesse was walking on eggshells around me, just being very careful with her words. Like, are you okay? Everything's fine. Giving me like positive reinforcement. So all this shit I said about we just need to accept the Chiefs winning because it's gonna happen. Yeah, it still hurts the same. My God.
Yeah, dude. Yesterday was brutal. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We're coming to you a day early on Monday because why not? Like, we could do this. But the Warriors play tomorrow, and I gotta go to Harmonic on Wednesday. So we thought we'd do this like a day early on Monday, and react to what happened last night in the conference championship games. There's a lot to review today, with a bunch of press conferences of head coaches being introduced. Pete Carroll was introduced as Raiders head coach. We'll talk about that, and Aaron Glenn and Brian Schottenheimer and whatever the hell that was with Liam Cohen today. But let's just talk about the conference championship games. And yeah, man, I got my hopes up, even though you told me not to. Last night was brutal, especially for Bills fans. Chiefs win again, 32-29. It's the 4th time in a row that Mahomes beats Josh Allen. Josh Allen owns him in the regular season 4-1, and Mahomes owns him in the season that actually matters, in the postseason 4-0. And by the way, I lost in picks just by that pick alone. So I got my little chip here, a little popcorn. I'll have some hot sauce on that in a little bit here. But yeah, man, I was disappointed thoroughly. Just as soon as the game was over, I was like, I turned it off and put on some School of Rock on Paramount Plus. That even couldn't cheer me up. It was just, I know, it's tough. It's tough when School of Rock can't even put a smile on your face.
Yeah.
But not like I was devastated. It was just like, damn, again? Like, is this ever going to change? Like, we'll go through the game and everything, but they had their moments. The Bills definitely had their moments to win. And everyone's going to talk about the 4th and 1. Did Mahomes pick that up? Or sorry, Josh Allen picked that up. And I don't know. I thought that they got the call right. Like I didn't think that he picked up that 4th and 1. But never. I mean, like you should also like I hate like having to determine things based on referees.
Right.
Like the Saquon holding for the fourth and 5 throw to AJ Brown. At the end of the day, like, you just got to make the plays, and sometimes things are ticky tacky. Like, holding to me is, objective sometimes,
Mhm.
and it all just depends. But like the 4th and 1, I don't think he got that. I thought that the nose of the ball didn't cross over.
Right.
Um, sorry, I should say subjective actually with the holding calls, but I don't know. I'm at a loss for words, Steven. You talked for a little while.
I know we make too much of this, and the Eagles and the Commanders. I'm more. It's what Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts did. Jalen Hurts coming back and playing the way he did. It was awesome, but the Eagles were just a tier above. They were, they were a nice New York steak, whereas the Commanders were kind of like a cheeseburger. Like, just the offense was. They were just clicking, man. They seemed to be really locked in, and the Commanders are not that great of a team. No one expected them to be there. Quite frankly, I kind of wish the Lions beat the Commanders. It was a great story, but I wish the Lions beat the Commanders because I think they were much better suited to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, or at least
would have been a better matchup.
It would have been, and would have made it a competitive game. And I think if you just look at what happened with AJ Brown and Marshawn Lattimore, that should tell you kind of all you need to know. Derek, I know we make too much of this, right? But throughout the week, it's like the media was testing Josh Allen to see where his nerves were at. And he was trying so hard to just be relaxed. And he gave that off. Like, yeah, I'm cool, man. I'm cool. It's just another game, trying to treat it like that. And he seemed that way. I just don't know if that's the type of mindset you can have going against the Chiefs. Like, you can't be erratic, but I need you to be locked in. I can't have you being relaxed. Like, did you see Mahomes before that game? He gave off the energy of like a teenager who's trying to avoid his parents or trying to be cool in front of the camera, walking into the tunnel with like his sunglasses with a straight face. Actually, when I played freshman football in high school, I always laughed at that. I remember laughing when I first got on there. Like, all my friends who I've known for a really long time are like listening to their music, trying to lock in before a game. I'm like, what are you doing? You're not normally like this. Like, stop trying so hard. But Mahomes does go into this zone, and I don't think you can compete with Mahomes in that zone if you're going into it relaxed. I don't know what the answer is, but in my opinion, I think there's a bunch of stuff happening with the refs and the 4th and 1. I texted you immediately that they didn't get it. I didn't think they got it.
I was holding out hope that they got it.
And we're using it's weird. We're using these pictures of Josh Allen and all the ones that I'm seeing where it's showing his body crossing the first down marker, but you're not seeing the ball.
Exactly.
When you're looking at the ball from that sideline view, it didn't look like the ball crossed the plane. That's just where I stood on it. And it's like, well, Gene Steratore said this. Yeah, Gene Steratore. Let's trust him with spotting a ball. So
honestly, where was the index card last night? Why didn't they measure that?
The joke was on a tee right there for Tony Romo or Jim Nance. Somebody.
Oh, Jim, he's pulling out the. Oh, he doesn't have it with him.
Oh, it's the 1.5x3, Jim. It might not be a big enough index card. But what I saw was Josh Allen throw almost 2 interceptions at the start of the game when we talked about how this has been his best season throwing the football. I don't know how true this is, but I went to PFF as soon as this morning. I went to PFF just to see how many interceptable passes he had or turnover-worthy plays. And he had like, I don't know what constitutes a turnover-worthy play, but he had like 16 or 18 of them this season and only committed 5 interceptions. So that was pretty interesting. He might have gotten away with a lot, and that number could have been a little bit higher, and we wouldn't be focusing on just that interception number so much. But what I saw was Steve Spagnuolo once again outcoached the opposite offensive coordinator. What was it? Let me go back here. The touchdown, I believe it was it the touchdown to make it? No, it was later. It wasn't the one to make it 22-21. No, I think it was the touchdown to tie the game. Yeah, it was the touchdown. It was the touchdown to tie the game at 29-29. Like, it's the fourth quarter, and you drive all the way downfield. You manage to get Kansas City to waste a timeout because the defense is all discombobulated and the clock's running out, and they apparently had the wrong personnel grouping on the field. That's the one where Chris Jones was kind of walking back to the defensive line with his hands up, not really knowing where he was supposed to be. I'm assuming he was probably thinking he's supposed to like line up on the edge. He was lining up at D tackle. I don't know. Whatever happened, it forced the Chiefs into calling a timeout when they shouldn't have. But when you come out of a timeout and you call a goal line fade, that's the best you could come up with as a low percentage play when you have James Cook, who's been running the football all night long. And I mean, you literally you ran it straight with him to open the second half. I thought they were going to go to James Cook. I don't think they used him in the final 6 plays of the game. I thought that was a mistake. I just think, once again, I'm not blaming Josh Allen. I'm not really blaming the Bills as a whole, but I am blaming, I think, the coaching staff ultimately. And it's just these two teams, they seem to be, I don't know, the Chiefs just seem to be better prepared in these types of situations where the teams they face, they're just not. And you got to be perfect. And they weren't in that scenario. And that final play, I know Josh Allen made something of it, but Spagnuolo called a quarterback blitz when Josh Allen clearly didn't see it coming. I mean, rewatch the play. He's looking to the left side of the line. He's not looking to his right at all. He's thinking that there's going to be a blitz coming on the left, and instead it came from the right.
Yep. I mean, kudos to the Chiefs. They came in more prepared than the Bills, and that's just hard to say because you figure this time around the Bills would want to just kick their ass. And they came in with weird energy. I was surprised by Josh Allen's frazzled nature to start the game. Like, it's never where the Bills strike first. Like, they get the ball, and I was hoping they score immediately and then put the pressure on the Chiefs. It's never like that. It's always the Bills, you know, like they're a little more scared than the Bengals for whatever reason. The Bengals, I think, are a more confident bunch, and specifically Joe Burrow is more confident when it comes to playing the Chiefs than Josh Allen is. For whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the history. He just gets spooked. But yeah, he almost threw 2 interceptions on that opening drive, and the Chiefs go right away and score. And yeah, I thought it took Joe Brady a little bit of time to get James Cook going. In the end, he scores 85, or he rushes for 85 yards. But yeah, I mean, like, for how effective they were during the regular season, of how that offense ran with mainly James Cook running the football, I was surprised. Just, you know, it got a little stale at times, but then they got things going. I mean, what really killed it for me was just how they got the lead. They went up 22-21 on that incredible touchdown run by James Cook, where he leaped up in the air and put the body over the put the ball over the pylon. His body got tossed around like a rag doll. I was like, God damn, that's the moment we've been waiting for. That's going to be the defining moment in this game. That's the America's game moment. That's the point where everybody's like, when James Cook rushed for that touchdown, that's when we knew we were going to win that football game.
That's one of the craziest still shots that we saw from conference championship weekend. I mean, the first one was Saquon running for the 60-yard touchdown, and he just had 2 commanders right in front of him, and somehow he escaped it and scored a touchdown. That still shot is crazy. But where James Cook's body is contorted, like in the shape of a U, and he still manages to stretch out, what a fucking play. That was awesome.
Yeah, I know. It was badass, and I was hoping it would turn into something, but what really pissed me off was their QB sneaks, their tush-push-like plays that had Josh Allen pulling like a guard to the left and then rushing, which sets you up for terrible leverage. You should always just go forward. While you're moving your body to the left and having your ribs and side exposed to the defense so they can come in and just body slam you makes no sense to me. And I know they've done it before, but against the Chiefs, you have to know that Chris Jones and those guys up the middle are going to stop that. So I know they favor that play, but they even, like, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo knew that, so I'm sure the Chiefs knew that, and they stopped it on a 2-point conversion play that would have been effective going into half. That would have been down 21-18, Instead, they're down 21-16. They score that touchdown by James Cook, an amazing run, and they're up 22-21. And then just things started to go the Bills' way. There was calls where I thought that's definitely against the Bills. No, it went against the Chiefs. There was a QB sneak where Josh Allen just went straight ahead, where he kind of went like head first and kind of tossed his feet over. He fumbles it, but the Bills recover somehow. And then, on that play, on that drive, the 4th and 1 play, they just weren't effective enough. They were more effective on shotgun on 4th and 1s with more QB read option with Josh Allen, where you didn't know if he's going to hand off to James Cook or keep the ball himself. That's what they should have done more of. And in the end, they go for that tush-push play. They don't get it. And right away, the Chiefs turn it around and score the touchdown to go up 29-22. I mean, awesome, great laser zip passes from Josh Allen to Matt Collins over the middle on the touchdown. On the touchdown, and then later on in the game where he just threw it over the middle, and I forget who scored the last touchdown. It was Curtis Samuel on the 4th and goal. Right. And even that play, I thought they're going to win this game. Yeah, I didn't like the jump ball fade to Keon Coleman. I thought that they could have got Amari Cooper more involved in the game. I don't know why they're not using him enough. But yeah, in the end, it was all set up for Josh. The Chiefs or the Bills hold them to a field goal. They're down 32-29. And there's enough time for Josh Allen to have his Peyton Manning moment to go down and score the game-winning touchdown or tie it up with a field goal. And I didn't love the play call to make it a 4th and 5. I know they had to make it manageable, but he throws a little screen pass to, I forget who it was. It might have been Amari Cooper. But on that 4th and 5, they Steve Spagnuolo called a great play, a blitz off the corner, and Josh Allen again got frazzled, threw the ball up in the air. It was a good throw to Dalton Kincaid, but I would have preferred that's a situation where Joe Brady needs to have a blitz beating play where there's a wide receiver going on a slant route or something. It just never felt like they were comfortable. Steve Spagnuolo called a great game against Joe Brady. The Chiefs are just so prepared. Andy Reid on the flip side of his offensive play calling, doing more running with Mahomes on his own QB read option and him doing naked bootlegs. It was just, the Chiefs just kicked their ass. Not kicked their ass in the form of, the outcome of the game, the score, but just being prepared better coaching. Yeah, it was thoroughly disappointing. I know people like Nate Burleson pissed me off. That's when I turned the TV off when he went on post game. Same thing with Peter Schrager. Just be like, guys, I know you don't like the Chiefs, but we're witnessing history here. This is history. So you don't have to like the Chiefs. You don't have to root for them, but you should root for history. And my thing is, history's cool, but also I think what most football fans root for is a different story, not the same story over and over and over and over again. And every year it's been Mahomes, and we're getting the same Super Bowl matchups again with the Chiefs and 49ers, and then Chiefs and Eagles. And I think as football fans, we want to see something different. In the NBA and basketball, or in the NBA and MLB, we're used to seeing the same team sometimes. If the Yankees win 3 in a row, then it's kind of expected because they're the Yankees. When the Lakers win 3 in a row, it's kind of expected because they're the Lakers. When the Chiefs win 3 in a row, that's just unprecedented football. And I think we would rather see, instead of a three-peat, NFL fans would rather see somebody new, finally Josh Allen slaying the dragon of Patrick Mahomes. That's what I wanted to see instead of the same old outcome all the time. So it's frustrating. And I think at the end of the day, I think we have to realize that Patrick Mahomes is more Steph Curry and Josh Allen's kind of like James Harden, which is shitty to say.
I know this might be honestly this might be a wrong opinion. I'll say this at first, but they kind of just put the game into Josh Allen's hands when they didn't need to at the end. You have 3.5 minutes. You should be running the ball on first down every time if you get a first down. They tried running it with Ty Johnson. Maybe James Cook was hurt and we just didn't know about it. Ty Johnson starts off that drive, gets stuffed. Then Allen ends up scrambling for 13 yards. And then you run a pass play on that first down. I think that's a situation where you don't let the Chiefs get the ball back again and you're playing, 4-down football one of those plays has got to be a run, especially with all the blitzes that they were calling. Like, you had open field or at least something to James Cook. That's what got me the most towards the end of the game. Like, you didn't even throw a ball past the line of scrimmage with Josh Allen until the fourth quarter. And then you just want to rely on him in that situation. This is what happens, man. It's not the players. Sometimes they do, but mostly the coaches, they just fold in these big moments. Even when Spagnuolo's showing you that, God, the amount of blitzes that he ran, the combination of blitzes that he ran. I mean, the Chiefs give the Chiefs a lot of credit. They are awesome at faking the blitzes and disguising and kind of keeping the offensive line on their toes. And I thought the offensive line actually did a really good job for the most part in stopping the Chiefs. But when it comes down to it, Mahomes sounds cliche when he says it, but their games normally come down to one or two plays. And, I was thinking, about the defense and how, well, the Bills defense did have plenty of time to stop them, but the offense did only give them like a minute and a half of a break. And then the Chiefs just, ran a quick few plays. And they passed it to Samaje Perine, who hadn't even had a touch all game.
That's just great play design too by Andy Reid.
They're just so well coached, man. It's unreal. Like that final drive, we're focusing too much on the refs, in my opinion, and that 4th and 1 thing. And even the final play, a lot of people coming down my guy Ben Solak's road. And if you didn't know what he looked like and you're catching a first glimpse of him, this is where football fans, it can get ugly, Derek, because that guy looks a lot younger than he actually is. He looks extremely young. He looks like he's a college kid. I'll be honest.
Okay.
He does.
How old is he?
I don't know, but he's not a college kid. He's like married and grows vegetables, and he's an excellent, excellent football writer. Did you see this? You didn't see this at all?
I heard about it. Alpha Announcing had a post about it, but I didn't take the time to read it.
Yeah, a lot of people coming down his road. Fitzpatrick said, when you're in your swivel chair in your heated room, it's a lot easier to say that Josh Allen should have hit Khalil Shakir, number 10, when he was wide open. But Allen had his back turned to him, and he's facing a blitz, and he's got 2 guys rushing on him. And Ben Solak missed the mark there. But I read that guy all the time, and it gets ugly when football fans start to immediately judge these people.
Well, Ryan Fitzpatrick came down his road.
Ryan Fitzpatrick did, although Fitzpatrick did preface it saying, "I love your energy, I love your passion for the game."
Okay,
and so he was trying to be nice about it. Ryan Leaf was not nice about it. Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, Ryan Leaf has been a little more aggressive these days. Like he was a nice guy when he started doing media stuff, but now he's kind of reverted back to the San Diego days. Don't talk to me, all right? Knock it off.
Yeah, he's back there. And so, but at the end of the day, we shout out Debo. We do have to. He says that all the time.
Yeah. I know.
We do have to give the Chiefs credit, man, because they just make the plays when it's needed. I don't think every team is converting on a 3rd and 9 in that situation. The Chiefs did, and they ended up getting a first down. I think that was the Isaiah Pacheco run or something, or I could be wrong. That might have been that wasn't the Perine play that clinched it, but they had them 3rd and 9 with a minute and a half to go. Plenty of time for their offense to get downfield, and the Chiefs made the right call. It's just.
Yeah, man.
It's just a mix. It's a mix of different things. The refs, sure, they might give the Chiefs a favorable call every now and then, but I think that kind of happens all over the NFL, and we just put the Chiefs on under a microscope because they're the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say like, the referees won it for the Chiefs last night. Like, no, in the end, the Bills just lost it. They had the game for the taking, and they didn't capitalize. They had squandered opportunities, which is one of the things I hate the most in an NFL game, where you see an opportunity to win the game and take it, and you just fail. Like the 4th and 1, I think that's the turning point in the game where the Bills could have really put pressure on the Chiefs, and they just did not do that. Now on the final play too, the 4th down, 4th and 5 with the blitzing corner. A lot of people are coming down Dalton Kincaid's road of dropping that ball, and that's a hard play to make. He's diving for that football. So
I mean, he's running Derek. He's running a corner route, and I'm doing it. I'm doing the. Should watch the all 22. But if you watch the all 22, if you've ever played baseball, think of it if you're playing left field and there's a left-handed hitter. You're playing left field, your first jump is you're going to go left because he goes inside out and you're thinking it's going to go to left center. So you start making your way towards left center. But then that ball starts tailing. And then it's basically in left field and you're running the opposite way. That's kind of where Dalton Kincaid was at. That ball it may have looked straight from the side view, but if you watch the All-22, that thing, everyone's done this when they throw a football. They throw it with this sort of angle with their hand, and it has a little curving motion to it. That's exactly what happened. That wasn't like a straightforward pass. If it was straightforward, he might have caught it. But, opposite actions create a reaction, whatever that science term is.
But, I mean, nothing I thought last night was Josh's fault. I thought that he obviously kept him in the game. At one point, it felt like it was going to be a repeat of the divisional playoff game a couple of years ago that went to overtime and Travis Kelce catches the game-winning touchdown pass. It was 29-29. And, I just thought that Josh, he didn't do enough, but he didn't do anything to make them lose the game. And the narrative is going to be this offseason, well, Josh needs better wide receivers around him. And I would say, no, not really.
Maybe he could have used the Stephon Diggs in that final drive.
Maybe, but also,
that's just nitpicking to find something.
Of course,
they wouldn't.
But also, I remember last year there was a play that they threw a deep pass to Stephon Diggs that he dropped against the Chiefs. So, who's to say? I thought they had a better offense this year without Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. I thought their offense was really good, running the football and just finding the open receiver, checking things down a little bit more, not having to go over the top every single play, running 4 verticals with Ken Dorsey was a smarter offense. But to say he needs a better wide receiver. He's got talent. He's got different types of wide receivers. He's got Keon Coleman, the rookie, who needs more experience. That can be like more of a red zone threat. He's got Khalil Shakir, who's a slot guy. He's got Amari Cooper. He's got Curtis Samuel, who could be like a Deebo Samuel type. He has players, and he has 2 tight end sets with Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. If you want to say Josh Allen needs more help, look at Patrick Mahomes the last 2 years. He got more help this year with Xavier Worthy, and the only reason the Chiefs got him was because the Bills traded down and the Chiefs were able to draft him. But they go get DeAndre Hopkins, and they got Marquise Hollywood Brown. But prior to that, Mahomes was throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So don't tell me that Josh Allen needs better receivers. He has good receivers right now. He just needed to come up big for him, and they didn't. And I thought that Joe Brady needed to have a better game plan. He kind of got in his own way a little bit. I will say this, however. I do like Joe Brady a lot. He obviously was the guy that won LSU the national championships. To be completely honest, Ed Orgeron was the head coach, but the brainchild behind that offense is Joe Brady. And I always thought he's going to be a great NFL offensive coordinator or a head coach even. And he got his time with the Panthers, but then got fired because him and Matt Rule didn't get along. And now he's working with Josh Allen. He denied an interview with the New Orleans Saints, who he has a relationship with from back in the day when he was like a wide receiver coach. I do think that a big reason why Joe Brady did not want to interview is because he sees potential with Josh. Obviously, Josh is Josh, and they're on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. It's kind of like Ben Johnson last year being like, we were so close to being the Niners. Let me come back one more season. We'll figure this thing out. I do wonder, though, with Sean McDermott, how much longer
who I was going to bring up.
I do wonder how much longer they could tolerate him just not getting them to the Super Bowl, not getting over the hump. He's a good coach. He's just not a great coach. Andy Reid knows him way too well from their days in Philly together. I just think that eventually, not this offseason, but eventually, if we see this all the time where, the Lions are going to lose Ben Johnson, and we'll see what happens with them and Dan Campbell. I do wonder at some point if the Bills are like, maybe we should move on from Sean and make Joe Brady the head coach. maybe that would bring us something different. I don't know, but I'm just tired of them losing to the Chiefs, and it sucks. And yeah, man, they just have their dominance over Josh Allen and the Bills right now.
I don't know what to attribute this statistic to. I don't know if it's just because, well, they have been in the playoffs consistently since what, 2019 or 2020?
The Bills?
Yeah,
2019.
When they first lost that wild card game against the Texans. And
yes.
They are 0-9 on the road in the playoffs with Sean McDermott as the head coach. And I don't know if that's a fault to him. I don't know if that's a fault to him. I don't know if that's because maybe his teams weren't good enough at first because they were playing on the road. And you run into one of the greatest franchises, or not greatest, but one of the greatest dynasties that the sport's ever seen. And maybe it's because you ran into them when they were just building it up. But 0-9 on the road in the playoffs is something to monitor. Now, you don't get rid of a guy like Sean McDermott after a season like they had this year, where everyone thought the Bills were the better team than the Chiefs and all of that. But that is pretty glaring. You know, it's not like a fireable one, but it's just, that's been a big issue, is just not being able to get their wins on the road in the postseason.
Well, not only that, it's just he can't beat Andy Reid in the postseason. I've never seen anything like this where a team wins consistently against an opponent in the regular season, but for whatever reason, the playoffs changes. Like it always was the Cowboys kicked the Niners' ass, regardless, regular season, postseason. The Patriots kicked Peyton Manning and the Colts' ass all the time. Then it shifted. Peyton Manning then kicked Tom Brady's ass with the Broncos. It just feels like we're not going to, like, what was disappointing, and I'm like so into NFL lore and NFL films and all that stuff, just like changing a narrative and telling a story. And it just doesn't feel like there's going to be a positive one for Josh Allen. He'll have a fine career, and he's a great player, but it's always just going to be like he lost to Mahomes every time. And like I said, we're used to that in other sports. Like Steph Curry's so much more likable than James Harden, so that's easy to root for. But like when it comes to, like, I don't know, like I don't think Josh Allen's hateable at all. I think we all like him as a quarterback, and we all wish for him to win MVP one of these days, but I think Lamar is more deserving. But just like, this time around, like you want to see the other guy win for once.
Yeah.
So it is a rivalry, and it may just be that he doesn't get that fairy tale ending where he gets to switch the narrative up, and I don't know. I just think that's really disappointing. So yeah, unless they get like home field advantage, I don't even know if that's going to make the difference because they lost to Kansas City last year in Buffalo. I don't know. I don't know what else they can do. I just like after this loss, I think it's just pretty devastating. Like I can't listen to Josh every single year. Like he was like so distraught in that post game where he was like, well, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. So we didn't do that again. So it just sucks to hear that.
You know what they need to do, Derek? Run the football.
And they did, though. They did,
but not in the moment when they could have. You established it like they were, in my opinion, the Chiefs knew that they were going to run the ball with James Cook in that opening drive in the second half when they scored a touchdown. Like the Chiefs knew it, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. And they just went away from that. I think that's what's going to be the difference with the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And
yes,
why I almost damn near have more confidence in them, because I mean, I know their offensive line was totally banged up, and my God, the story of that game really in the first half was watching Landon Dickerson just try to play. Like that dude was limping and could barely even move his left foot.
But then Cam Jurgens comes in and they trade off at halftime. Like that was incredible.
It's just like, what the hell's going on? Now they got 2 weeks off, but I just think that you got to rely on something. With the NFL, there was a trend this year, which was running teams, or running backs rather. They had some sort of resurgence, a revival, and you just relied on the quarterback. And I think the way to beat the Chiefs is not to rely on your quarterback, but rely on all these other players. Like, put the game solely in Josh Allen's hands with those 6 plays to go. And I I didn't think they needed to do that. Maybe eventually, but not when you're on your own side of the field.
Are you
Not when-
referring to the last drive where they failed on fourth down?
Yeah. No, I'm referring to the last drive when they were down by a field goal, when they were down 32-29.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm like,
I think at that point they feel like we have such little time left that maybe it's just best to throw this football.
Don't have little time left though. You have 3.5 minutes with 3 timeouts. You have all the time in the world. Just run the football once, just once.
No, but they did though, Steven. And they ran with Ty Johnson to start the drive.
Fucking Ty Johnson. Yeah, all right. Like,
no, but like that's the thing though. Like I know people are going to be so focused on that. It's a pass formation. It catches them off guard because he's not usually the running back in that formation. They were hoping to pick up the first down, and then they could change things up by maybe like if they got to their side of the field, I guarantee you they would have ran more with James Cook. Just a matter of getting there. It's tough. I hear you. For most of the season, that's like this was more. This is crazy to say. This season was more of a James Cook season than it was a Josh Allen season. Josh Allen would always put up 4,000 yards passing and 30-plus touchdown passes, and this year it was more about the running game. So I hear you. And, yeah, just the fourth down plays pissed me off. There was – I mean, defensively, too, the Bills have a good pass rush, but they needed consistently to get to Mahomes more. And, like, the injuries they faced going into the game, they didn't have Taylor Rapp, rookie safety. Cole Bishop was playing in that game. Christian Bradford, their cornerback, one of their best, got a concussion early in that game and was out. Matt Milano trying to cover Travis Kelce. He's not the same player he used to be, so I don't know what his future is with that team. But, yeah, no, I don't know what else to say. It's just really disappointing because, obviously, like, I have ties to Buffalo, my grandparents, my dad, and it would have been awesome to see this change. But we all kind of knew this was going to be an uphill battle because the Bills, it's hard to like. I mean, shit. The Chiefs went 15-2, or 15-2. So the Bills would have had to gone 15-2 themselves. They only lost 4 games this season, so it was going to be tough. But I think in the end, they just got to be the better regular season team, and then host these games at Buffalo, and just come out guns blazing, kick their ass to start. He's got to be more confident, and I just don't feel confidence when I see Josh Allen play against Patrick Mahomes in the postseason.
I don't. I'm telling you, I do not see. He's just so easygoing, and that's how he normally is. I don't need that. I don't need to hear that. Like, I don't need to hear this. Just we got love for our teammates. We're gonna rely on that. We're gonna rely on our preparation. Like, no, this is the conference championship. We're locked in. I'm not losing this game. Have some confidence, because that's also the thing, Derek, is whether it's down from the coaches to the players, you feel like that when you're playing Kansas City or when you're watching a team play Kansas City, they know that they are playing this team that's on a dynastic run. Instead of like, no, we're going to beat this team. Like, they don't have a shot at beating us. Like, they may be good and they may have, they may have done everything that they're supposed to do to get here, but we're the better team.
Yeah.
And we're not scared of them. It just always feels like the other team is scared of the Chiefs, and that's their biggest problem. And I wonder if the Eagles rather are going to have a different mindset to that. Jalen Hurts, you can't really tell. That man's just a walking quote machine, but he'll just always tell you, he's locked in or whatever. But it seems Saquon's pretty locked in at this point.
Oh, yeah, dude.
God, after Saquon scored that 60-yard touchdown, he's not even shaking anyone's hands. He's going down the sideline. I tweeted this out, but I'm not in anyone's algorithm anymore, so my tweets don't get seen by anybody.
God, you're really bitter by that, huh?
I am actually, Derek, because I've been throwing out some fire and no one sees it. Been delivering fried gold on that platform. Got to go to Blue Sky, I think.
Hey, like that slice of fried gold right there.
Yeah. But I don't think anyone even on the sideline saw Barkley score the touchdown. Like, when he ran down the sideline, when he was done, he just ran to the sideline immediately. Like, no one even acknowledged him. It seems the defense was still pissed that they let those fourth downs go by for the Commanders. I know they just let up a field goal, but the defense was still talking to each other.
So quick.
I don't even think they noticed. And I don't know what that has anything to do with the point that I'm making, Derek, but the point is the Eagles are locked in.
Yep, that's a good transition to the Eagles as we put to bed the Bills season, which is just I thought it was going to be different this year. I thought that they had a good thing going in training camp. Yeah, I'll admit it. The Mac Hollins stuff was fun. Yeah, it was kind of gross him walking around with his bare feet all over the place. And yesterday, him dressing up like animal. But I thought like something was different. They didn't have the toxic nature of Stephon Diggs anymore. I thought it was going to be different. But in the end, it's the same old thing. All right, as I put some hot sauce on this chip, what are your takeaways from the NFC Championship game with the Eagles winning 55-23?
Well, I'll repeat what I said at the top of the podcast is I think the Lions were much better suited to beat the Eagles. And even though it was a great story, the Commanders beating the Lions, beating the Buccaneers first, and then the Lions to get to the NFC Championship, having failed to even win a playoff game since, 2006, the 2006 playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's been a long time for Washington. It was really cool. They overhauled the entire franchise. But I would have much rather seen the Lions compete in that game because I think that would have been a much better game for them. And it would have been in Detroit's field. And I think that would have made it a lot harder.
God, think of all the rushing yards.
Right. Yeah, a lot. And it would have been really high scoring. I just think the Eagles, man, they were just so much more talented, but they're locked in. They're locked in. Jalen Hurts had his best performance. I kind of hate the discourse around Jalen Hurts because he doesn't put up the flashy stats and he does make some questionable decisions as a quarterback. But I do think this guy, there's just a switch that he flips on during the postseason where he hears that noise and God, he had a really good game yesterday. And I thought just the dime that he threw to A.J. Brown. How about the thing to Devontae Smith? You want to talk about another tweet? I'm like, where the 49er fans at, huh? Because I just equated it. But Devontae Smith getting a questionable call out of bounds and the Eagles quick snap it. And they ended up scoring a touchdown out of it. I was like, wonder where we've seen that before. Oh, yeah, the 2023 NFC Championship where Devontae Smith caught a one-handed pass. He actually didn't catch it, went incomplete, but they quick snapped it, and then they ended up scoring anyway, and that kind of changed the entire complexity of the game.
Was there a questionable one yesterday?
Yeah.
Which
there
one?
was one. He caught it out of bounds, and it looked like he got both feet in. But
he did. He definitely did, Steven.
No, he
No,
didn't.
you don't think so?
The left foot touched that line. The left foot was out, and Tom Brady.
I think he got in.
I don't think so.
I will say, Tom at moments was a little nervous. I noticed like at the beginning, he was kind of rushing through the on-camera moment. I will say that may have been Brady's best performance, and maybe I was just more locked into the broadcast. He did give good insight on like moments where he thought like Jalen Hurts was holding the ball way too long. Just be like, just throw it right now. Just throw. You got one-on-one coverage right there with A.J. Brown. Just throw that ball. I think that was kind of Brady's best performance as a broadcaster.
It was really good. He does talk about himself a little too much.
He does.
Not everyone's like you. That looked like it was out of bounds to me.
No, there's enough green there, man. He's good.
Where? In the shoe?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, we need the see Fox doesn't have the NBC zoom in thing. Okay, right there. See his heels up. He's fine.
Still questionable enough, I think, to challenge that. They probably wouldn't have overturned it. But point being, made the connection, and it happened. And I'm just doing that to prop up my Twitter, Derek, for no other point because
I know. And yet we're not seeing any of your fried goals, Steven.
No. And the algorithm, God damn it. Screw you, Elon. But that look, I mean, what else can you say?
Taggy's with you. Taggy's with you. Of course he is.
Yeah. The Eagles steamrolled them, dude. They steamrolled them. And how about that? Learning of a new rule that the refs can award a touchdown.
Dude, that was nuts. That was absolutely nuts. Just to go into this game, and I got hot sauce on the chip, so I'll go here.
All right. Ew.
The commies came in with a great game plan.
Ugh.
Dude, For how many times they went for it on fourth down that opening drive and kept getting it? Was it twice?
Yeah.
Just keep going. Oh. Keep going. The way they would have won that game and struck fear into the Eagles is take an early lead and force Jalen Hurts to throw the football. Before they knew it, they kicked the field goal. They're down 14-3 because they couldn't stop their running game. Like, God, that first snap from the Eagles and Saquon going 60 yards.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be a long day. And then they get the turnover on the kickoff. Saquon, 2 carries, 2 touchdowns. Oh, man. And, dude, only 15 carries for Saquon, and he made the most of it. Like,
hey, time traveler, welcome to the show. This is the portion where if we lose in picks from the weekend, this is the portion where we eat hot sauce from Hot Ones. He's currently suffering through the last dab. What is it? The explosive one?
Yeah, with the ghost pepper.
Yeah, mirroring the type of diarrhea
you're gonna
later.
like the show, time traveler. Yeah, I probably will. But yeah, no, I thought Jalen Hurts had honestly his best playoff performance yet. Maybe actually, no, take that back. The Super Bowl was pretty good, but as far as just passing, the most confident I've ever seen him in. They definitely read like they were all petty kings this week as far as the Eagles when it comes to Jalen Hurts not being a good thrower of the football. So, yeah, like I thought that they looked to throw a lot more in the second half, which made me wonder, like at points, did Saquon have like a calf injury? Because I thought they were throwing the ball a lot, but it was good, smart passes, throwing to Dallas Goedert in the flat and him getting yardage to pick up the first downs or making him manageable run plays. A.J. Brown, one-on-one coverage with Marshawn Lattimore. That 4th and 5 play, yes. Saquon did hold the linebacker, but in my opinion, you let that go. That's such a sweet play. And, yeah, there's holding on every play, so I want to throw the flag there. But, yeah, their running game was lethal. Their defense is, in my opinion, I think better than what it was 2 years ago. And, yes, they almost set a NFL record for sacks in a single season with, Fletcher Cox and
Hassan
Reddick and Josh Sweat and all these guys.
Right.
Javon Hargrave. This year it's different. They don't get as many sacks, but the way they're able to cover, like the reason they lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs the first time was they got no pressure, no sacks, and they picked on James Bradbury. And this time around, their cover corners are ridiculous. Darius Slay is taking it up a notch in the postseason. Quinyon Mitchell's awesome. Their nickel rookie corner, Cooper DeJean, they're all awesome.
Zach Bond's having an all-pro year.
Dude, Zach Bond could be, like, it doesn't go into effect for postseason stuff, but if you were going to do it right now, Zach Bond should be Defensive Player of the Year for what he's doing to that Eagles defense. They don't have the Kobe Dean, but Orland Burks was doing well yesterday.
Former Niner.
Yep. So, yeah, the Commanders, they weren't going to be able to stop Saquon. We knew that going into the game. It's just a matter of could they put up as many points as the Eagles, and no, you can't put up 55 along with them. So I thought they got to the NFC Championship game a year too early. Jaden Daniels is going to be awesome in this league, but they got overmatched yesterday. The game plan was awesome. I love the aggressive nature of Dan Quinn throwing that fake punt with Tress Way, and it was crazy how they kept running the tush push, and Frankie Lulu was getting all angry about it. And
what'd you call him?
What's his name? Lulu? What was it? Lulu or
Luvu?
Luvu. Frankie Luvu, where he kept diving over the pile and getting agitated about how they, just couldn't stop it. And I did not know the referee could just be like, okay, that's enough. I'm awarding them the touchdown to keep pulling this shit.
Kids, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. If this behavior continues, I'm putting you in timeout.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, in the end, the Eagles show they're the more dominant team in the NFC, and they're way better than they were 2 years ago as far as a running game and defense. I think that, Niner fans are going to hate this, but I think that Saquon's kind of shown he's the best running back in football right now. We'll see what happens when McCaffrey's healthy. I think it's going to be very interesting next year when the Niners are at full strength and the Eagles are this different version of themselves. Yeah, I think that right now, if I had to say, I'm kind of leaning Eagles. And I did last time, but I think this is I don't think anybody can stop this running game of the Eagles. I think it's extremely dominant. I think that last time around, the Eagles didn't run effectively in the Super Bowl. This time, they could probably control the time of possession, and their defense can probably cover a lot better than they did 2 years ago. So while we're all like, sucks, Bills lost, Chiefs are in the Super Bowl once again, they're going for a three-peat, it's not a foregone conclusion. I think that the Eagles could win this game. So, yeah, I came away very impressed with the Eagles yesterday.
Yeah, they had a complete performance, and we didn't even mention the turnovers. Like the peanut punch was, I mean, they were just throwing them like they were Muhammad Ali out there. The one from Zach Baum was super impressive, but they were just, it was everywhere. Will Shipley getting it done on special teams.
Dude, yeah.
And then having that big run at the end of the game. And you speak on defense being better. They're definitely more complete. The defensive line is not it doesn't have as much depth to it, and they're not as vaunted. But a name you didn't mention is also Nolan Smith, who is just awesome for a rookie as well. Like they really are a complete defense here. And we kind of wonder what Nick Sirianni's value is. And I think two things that really stood out. And shout out to Jason Dumas, who's now in Philadelphia, but he was interviewing Landon Dickerson, and I saw a clip that he posted on Twitter because he popped up in my algorithm. I'm not popping up in anyone else's algorithm, but I'm getting everyone else's tweets. I'm not salty. So he posted a thing of Landon Dickerson, and he credited Nick Sirianni for his wanting to come back from an injury. Like when we talk about the leader of men versus offensive mastermind and all that sort of shit. But Nick Sirianni is that leader of men type. And you heard Burkhardt on the broadcast after like the third time that they punched a ball out. They said Nick Sirianni was the one that put it into their minds. Go after the ball. Force turnovers. They're prone to it. They're a young team. They're not ready for you in this defense at Lincoln Financial Field. Like, go in there and try to hit the ball. And it worked to perfection. So I think you saw that too, where these guys are really believing in Nick Sirianni, as crazy as he is, as insane as he is, doing all these things that really rub you the wrong way. Well, clearly he's not rubbing his players the wrong way. That's the right way to word it.
I referenced School of Rock earlier in the show, but that was very reminiscent of I've been touched by your kids. And I'm pretty sure I touched them too.
Pretty sure I touched them.
Oh my God.
Why is my daughter obsessed with David Geffen?
Yeah, I honestly, what can we say if Sirianni wins the Super Bowl? Can we call him out for being just some meathead? Like the truth is, he is equal parts meathead and also cerebral offensive play caller, but he doesn't do that. He's just a guy that got a job for being an offensive coordinator with the Colts, then realized he's not that good of a play caller. He's a better leader of men. So I think that we all if you're such a offensive genius, then why do you need Kellen Moore? Why do you need Vic Fangio and all these guys around you? And the truth is, he just has really good coordinators, and he knows how to lead the team. So we might I know Niner fans are going to hate this, but can you imagine if Nick Sirianni gets a Super Bowl before Kyle Shanahan does, and how we view Nick Sirianni compared to Kyle Shanahan? So,
yeah,
I think the narrative will change on Sirianni. Yeah, I do think there's a good chance the Eagles can win the Super Bowl, but we got a long time to break that down. As far as Saquon, this story's awesome. He's going to go up there with Drew Brees and Reggie White as far as the best, and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady as far as the best free agent acquisitions of all time, because he's just changed this team. He definitely has had a McCaffrey effect on how good this team is. Like, they were good before. Like, it's the same thing with like the Niners having Elijah Mitchell and then getting Christian McCaffrey. I never thought Miles Sanders was that great. DeAndre Swift's a good player. Saquon Barkley with this offensive line is ridiculous. And now he could win the Super Bowl on his birthday. And if he just rushes for 30 more yards, I know we were all disappointed that Saquon didn't get the single season rushing record, but he could surpass Terrell Davis as far as single rushing yards throughout an entire season, including playoffs. He's the only, besides Terrell Davis, he's the only 2,000-yard rusher to get to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, this has been pretty impressive by the Eagles this year.
And it's not just watching the Giants and seeing their free fall, right? And them letting Saquon Barkley go. It's not just their impact on the Giants. And it's not just that their division rival, one of their most hated rivals, has a chance to win the Super Bowl and stop a team from making history. But they are set now. Their Super Bowl window, whatever you want to call it, if they're with this same core, it's open for the next 3 years. Go down the list of their contracts. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jordan Mailata, Jalen Hurts, Saquon, all of those guys are under contract. And then on the defensive side, Jordan Davis, who normally is more of a run stopper, you saw him actually get a sack. Him and Jalen Carter are still going to be on their rookie contracts. Obviously, you got Nolan Smith. I'm going to assume they'll extend Zach Bond and figure out a way to do that. Darius Slay is going to be under contract. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, all of these guys, like, they're going to be around for a long time. And Saquon is keeping that window open. Without Saquon, I don't think they're going to be like they'd be a playoff team, but I wouldn't think I wouldn't have them as potential NFC favorites every year. But with Saquon there, a healthy Saquon, yeah, it's kind of like how I felt with the 49ers going into 2023. You're kind of thinking, like, how can anyone really stop them? Though they do have the Chiefs standing in their way.
Yeah, they do. But I also think that this is a very different team than we saw 2 years ago with the Eagles. And if Niner fans think this is the same old Eagles that they can just beat up on 42-19 and Big Dom's a joke, I think this team is a lot different. And I give props to Jalen Hurts. I said on the radio on Friday that I don't know if Jalen Hurts is better than Jaden Daniels at this point. And if you saw him in the postseason, you would think the same thing, just minimal passing yards. But also, I don't factor in him coming off concussion and him being a little rusty. When they need him to throw, he can get it done. It's not as consistent as it was in the 2022 season. He hasn't lived up to that MVP caliber type of season. But when they need him to, yeah, he can deliver the mail. So we'll see here. But yeah, man, I think this is an interesting Super Bowl matchup. I think that it's a little repetitive. I don't love just getting rematches that this quickly all of a sudden now. We never got shit like this before. But now, Niners play the Chiefs again and Eagles play the Chiefs again. And I know the Bay Area hates this matchup and people are like, I'm going to boycott the Super Bowl. I'm not watching. Stop. All of you are going to watch the Super Bowl. It's appealing to everybody. Whether you like sports or don't like sports, you're going to watch the game or like the commercials or watch Kendrick Lamar.
Call out Drake.
Yeah, exactly. Is he allowed to do They Not Like Us?
They've been promoting it with the instrumental, so I
saw that, but because Apple Music is getting sued by Drake, I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They're going to. I'm really hoping this is just what I want, since he is going to have SZA as the feature artist. I'm really hoping they're bringing out all of Top Dog Entertainment, because a lot of those guys are from LA. And they have actually been impacted by the wildfires. Actually, Schoolboy Q just, I think, canceled his show in Berlin and has kind of been off social media when he was pretty active. People are speculating that he knew people that were impacted and was impacted himself by the fires. And I don't know if that's going to stop them from performing here, but I'm really hoping, like, it's not the calling out Drake for me. I don't care about that. I really don't care about the Kendrick Drake beef at all. Because Kendrick is clearly the better artist, but I just want him to bring out all of Top Dog. I think that'd be so sick if he had like Absol up there and Schoolboy Q and obviously SZA is going to be up there. And they're probably going to perform all the stars from the Black Panther soundtrack. I would think so.
Is she on that?
She is on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the one that sings the chorus.
I
So that'd be
figured.
sick.
Yeah. That'll be an interesting halftime show. But yeah, anybody that says like I'm not watching this year, fuck the Eagles, fuck the Chiefs. I get hating those teams, totally get it. But stop this. Stop this. People are gonna watch the Super Bowl. Relax. Because like just Niner fans be like, oh, I'm done. I'm not watching it at all. Yes, you are. You're gonna watch. It's the last NFL game of the season. You're gonna watch this game.
Yeah. And I don't really think that there's a true rivalry with the Eagles. I think it's just they hate them right now. Like they just don't like the Eagles at this current time.
Yeah, I was surprised today. I heard more Niner fans say, fuck the Eagles, okay, whatever, with the Chiefs. Both teams like don't have like a lot of history. The Chiefs have more history with the Niners than I think the Eagles do. It's the Super Bowls and Joe Montana and all that. As far as the Eagles, it's the NFC Championship game. That's about it. Their fans are annoying. Okay. It's not really, I don't know. Not anything big to like I know like they're like it's another NFC team and the whole thing with Dre Greenlaw and Big Dom, but I don't see it. So at the end of the day, like I think you'd rather would see the Eagles win at this point, and seeing the Chiefs three-peat, and not to mention, I'm sure there's old school Niner fans that are like the Niners should have three-peated in 1990 when Roger Craig fumbled the football.
The only thing the only reason I don't think the 49ers want to see the Eagles win is because I don't think they want to see another threat in the NFC.
Yeah.
I think there's nerves there because I think once the season was over and you knew that you'd be getting a 100% healthy Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy's going to be playing with the extension. You're probably going to build up the defense. Dre Greenlaw might be coming back, and you have a last place schedule. Well, if the Eagles are able to do something that their teams couldn't do for 2 Super Bowls, then it's like, oh, maybe we're not like these, the powerhouse that we thought we were in the conference where we only got to get by the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Or these other teams we got to get by now.
No, you make a great point, Steven, because I think Niner fans would be like, okay, Chiefs win. Oh, that's annoying. Fuck them. Whatever. Eagles win. You're like, how come we couldn't do that?
Right.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And yes, you would see them as a threat. They'd be the top dogs in the whole NFL, not to mention the whole NFC. But yes, they would be. The Niners have a lot of competition, even though things look better for them. Getting Salah back officially, and they got a last place schedule, and hopefully going to change things up. 11th overall pick. You still got to deal with the Eagles, the Lions, Packers, Vikings are no joke. Yeah, it's not going to be a cakewalk for the Niners next season. They can win the division again, but NFC's competitive right now.
They're getting real. And I think the Falcons are going to be a more competitive team with Michael Penix Jr. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from like the Rams, and I don't know. The Cardinals have I've kind of lost interest in the Cardinals, thinking what they can do too. But I don't know. It's not going to be as easy of a road, I think.
No, it won't be. All right, going over to the press conferences that happened today. I watched a little bit of all of them, just as far as clips. I listened to the whole thing with Pete Carroll and John Spytek getting introduced. We'll go into that one a little bit more in depth. But just like ranking like what I've heard today, I came away impressed the most with the Raiders, the Jets and Aaron Glenn, and the most embarrassing ones by far were Brian Schottenheimer. Not anything he did or said. It was Jerry Jones being a weirdo. And the real weirdo of the day was Liam Cohen. Not like to focus on the whole, like, I know out of context, everyone's going to make fun of him for the Duval. If you want to play it, Steven, feel free. It was cringy. And no doubt it was cringy. But this guy should have just been honest. Like, there was, in the beginning of the press conference, he talks about how, yeah, it was just weird.
Duval.
Yeah. Weird. Anyway, he kind of gives off.
I'm just going to keep that there.
Yeah, just his face. He kind of gives off not a leader of men vibes. He gives off I'm a good offensive play caller guy. He comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree, so maybe he's better than what his press conference says. We all thought that Nick Sirianni was a goof in his press conference. Same thing with Dan Campbell. But the whole like Tampa Bay questions of how things were left there, and he just kind of like brushes it off and is like, well, we got an opportunity to go to, a premier franchise and come here and change your life and do what's best for your family. You're going to do that. And then when asked about like, so this had nothing to do with Trent Baalke being fired, he goes, nope, nothing, not whatsoever, not at all. So you could have just been like, well, obviously things change. Would I've liked to have more say in the organization and who's in the front office? Absolutely. So coming into this situation, did I want to see Trent go? No, but I do think it's a better situation to have more control in the whole thing. This too, he gets snappy with his kids here.
I like this one.
And know them and hearing their vision and hearing what they want best for this program and organization. It's really cool to see.
Obviously, we know you've been able to do with other quarterbacks.
This is on par with Ed Orgeron just interrupting his press conference in the middle of the practice field and then turning around and yelling, hey, I'm having a press conference. Okay?
Yeah.
Know them,
Then he just
hearing their
snapped.
vision and hearing what they want best for this program and organization. It's really cool to see.
Obviously, we know you've been able to do.
And then there was Jerry Jones and Brian Schottenheimer. And I don't think Brian said anything weird today from what I saw, but Jerry just being his usual weird self with him, like being like, if I'd have known how much coaches would have made today, I would have been a coach. Kind of like saying he devalues coaches. Like, I don't want to pay him too much is basically what he was saying. And then going
the reason that he shouldn't become a coach is because he didn't think they make enough money, not because he, I don't know, couldn't draw up plays, couldn't deal with that day-to-day life, and
I could definitely be a coach if I wanted to.
Couldn't bring his Johnny Walker Blue and drink that date on a daily basis on my private plane. Come on, Jerry.
Yeah, he was like, I just wanted the lifestyle of an owner instead of a coach. It's like, please. And then he goes out of his way to be like, I don't think I like to be in, I like to stay in my comfort zone when it comes to coaches. Well, I'm making a risky move here. You best believe I am. I'm hiring a coach with no experience whatsoever. And we're all like, why you're trying to prop this guy up and you're tearing him down at the same time? The whole press conference made no sense. I feel bad for Brian Schottenheimer. He's going to try to do his damnedest to do a fantastic job, but you could see right away this guy's going to stand in his way. Like, he said weird things like, I know Brian's family. I know his next door neighbor. I could go to his next door neighbor and be like, what kind of guy is this? I couldn't do that with Jimmy Johnson. Couldn't do that with Barry Switzer, but I did it with Brian. What does that mean?
He needs to be done. He needs to step aside, let someone else run this whole thing. The guys on the radio station that he chastised for speaking facts.
Yeah.
You could tell it's getting
I don't have to do this.
It's just, I'm kind of tired of hearing from Jerry Jones. I think a lot of people are. He's kind of narcissistic.
Kinda.
He's always been full of himself. How can any Cowboy fan feel good after that? Especially though, I don't think Jerry Jones is running any social media accounts, but after all the shit the Cowboys got for hiring Schottenheimer in the first place, and you didn't do anything to dispel any of that, like, it's just a bad look all around. Now, the Liam Cohen thing is, that's one thing. I think another guy to look at is like Jonathan Gannon. You don't think that can run an organization.
Pew, 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 pew.
But at the same time, it does make it a little bit funnier that the Jags just totally lowballed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or rather the Buccaneers kind of lowballed Liam Cohen, I guess, and the Jaguars just stepped in with this whole secret meeting and everything just to hire some guy who goes, Duval.
Well, the funniest part of the press conference was they asked him, what went in your decision to not go back to Tampa? And he goes, well, when you do enough research and you realize this is going to be a good situation for yourself, like good enough research, they bumped up your pay from 4.5 million to probably 12 million a year. So yeah, anybody in their right mind would do that. It's shady the way he handled it, no doubt. But at the end of the day, he's taking a head coaching job. I totally get that.
I do too. But I'm not going to just judge him based on this presser. But it's still funny that that's the way it played out. You know, with him snapping, maybe he was like, he has kids. Maybe he was watching Toy Story with his kids, and he had the claw in his mind. So he went Duval.
Oh, that is kind of similar.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, with Jerry, like he undermined Schottenheimer so much. Like he's telling that story like how like I wanted to be a coach, but now I see what coach is making. His idiot son is just sitting there next to him, just laughing his ass off at his jokes. Yeah, I that's not changing anytime soon, Steven. Like it's Jerry's, world, and we're all just living in it, and he runs the Cowboys, and he's gonna have tours go on while they're doing press conferences and made a mockery of the whole thing. So good luck to Brian Schottenheimer. Aaron Glenn with the Jets. I think there's something different there. It's not, Woody Johnson hiring some guy that's going to be a yes man to him. Not that Robert Saleh was that guy. I think Robert Saleh, well, first of all, Woody Johnson didn't want to hire him. His brother hired him, I guess. And Robert had a hard time explaining things to the media. I think that Robert's going to be a fantastic defensive coordinator again with the 49ers. But when it comes to him explaining things with the New York media and how tough they could be, he kind of got tongue-tied and, especially dealing with Aaron Rodgers, there was a lot on his plate. Aaron Glenn, good God, he handled himself like a man today when someone kept asking him, so what's the play with Aaron Rodgers? He's like, you already asked this question a couple times now. I'm going to give you the same answer. We don't have the answer. You get it? This was beautiful.
Aaron Rodgers be your quarterback?
You're going to continue to ask me the same question and get the same answer. We're still in evaluation mode. So for anybody else going to ask that, I'm going to give you the same answer. So don't waste your time. We're clear.
Well, let's answer that. Like, what do you look for in a quarterback? Like, what's an Aaron Glenn quarterback?
A winner. A winner. Mental and physical toughness. When you talk about that, you're not going to get me.
But let me ask you this. Parcells over, I know you guys are close. He always
That's
said,
Parcells.
Okay.
I'm Aaron Glenn.
Okay, so you don't.
That's Parcells. I'm Aaron Glenn.
Okay.
Dude, he's going to have great moments with the media. It's kind of reminiscent of Herm Edwards, but I think this guy can probably coach a football team better than Herm Edwards.
Sure. I want this guy. I don't want him to bring back Aaron Rodgers. I'll say that.
I don't think they will.
They better not. Like Rodgers is going to say all the right things. He's going to say, well, we got Aaron Glenn. Now I'm like highly motivated to get back. And I think with Aaron Glenn, like, no, he's done. He's not the same quarterback that he was. He'll have his moments, but can he play all 4 quarters consistently like he used to for what would be a 17-game season? No, he can't. He'll give you a solid half every other game, and it makes you think like, oh, he's back. It's not happening. They need to get someone else to do that. But if you're going to handle that media circus in New York anyway, that's the way to do it.
Yep.
Put your foot down. Because they're going to eat you alive for whatever reason. I don't know why the New York media has to be so tough on their sports guys. I don't know.
Because that's the way we do things here, Steven.
It's a New York style. I don't know, dude. It's frustrating. It's sports. Stop taking it so seriously.
No, the new GM they hired too in New York, I think his name is Dan Mogi. From his background, I'm sure he's going to be not cutthroat, but just be like, why would we give another $39 million to Aaron Rodgers this year for him to go 4-12 or whatever it was, 5-13 this year? Like, no, they're going to move on from him, I would anticipate. Or maybe, I don't know. We still got a lot of time before the frenzy kicks in. But yeah, I would anticipate them wanting to start from scratch and move on from Aaron Rodgers.
But that was a very impressive few press conferences, though. I'll say that, like compared to Duval.
Yes, it was. But the best one today, I thought the union of John Spytek and Pete Carroll was very impressive. No, I didn't know how these two guys were going to get along because they're both very different in age. They're both not, they have no relationship with each other. They got just kind of paired up as a joint marriage. But I was very impressed with both of them. And with John Spytek, like, he's came across like a guy that was grateful for the opportunity, but also knew what he was doing in this league for quite some time. And I listened to John Middlecoff talk on his podcast about him. He doesn't know him very well, but everyone in the scouting community just praises John Spytek of being a genius when it comes to evaluating talent. So that's a good sign. As far as Pete, I mean, he just sounds like the nicest guy in the world. He's like talking about, like, John's like talking at first about his experience in the league. And then Pete opens his press conference up by saying, like, that's great, man. That's awesome. You know what? Congrats to you, man. Like, almost like they met for the first time, but probably didn't.
It felt like they met for the first time in person.
Yeah.
Because
a little bit, but I highly doubt that.
The only well, they probably FaceTimed or something, but
Yeah.
in person, I wouldn't be shocked if that's the first time they ever met each other. Like, it gave off. I mean, I'm just saying it because he's 73 going on 74, but it definitely gave off that grandfather energy.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's very proud of his grandson. Like, even at the end of the press conference, you didn't hear it on NFL Network. I was watching it live on the Raiders YouTube page, and you see Pete kind of like give him a little fist bump on the shoulder, going, "You knocked that out of the park."
Look at you, sport. Good on,
Way to go,
good on
Tiger.
you, kid. Good on you, kid.
Way to go, Tiger.
But no, it's kind of like a little bit like, I don't remember the press conference from 15 years ago, but Pete and John Schneider were paired up together in Seattle. And I think Pete's just he's not like an ego-driven guy where it's like my way or the highway. It's like, all right, this guy's the GM. Okay, I'll make it work. And that's why I think this is going to be so easygoing about this, is because Pete knows what he wants. And I don't think he's going to play the seniority card here. He's going to probably take Spytek's opinion into account. But for the most part, I think Pete's going to be like, all right, this is what I would do in Seattle, but let's work together on this. And I loved how he kept saying over and over again how we need to be in unison on this together. We need to, communicate. And that was very different than a year ago when Tom Telesco was introduced, and, they basically admitted to the world, like, we don't have a relationship. We don't know each other very well, and we'll try to make the best of this to work. But it sounds like Pete and John, like, Spytek's worked with a bunch of different coaches, Pete Carroll, Andy Reid. So he's going to be respectful to Pete Carroll. But as far as Pete, this is probably the best feeling I've had in a Raider press conference in a long time. The John Gruden one was special. He was coming back, and he was more of his arrogant way of just being like, I'm going to take things back to 1998, man. I'll tell you that. And it was like, Mark Davis coming out and be like, this is a big effing deal. This was just, it's Pete Carroll. We all know Pete Carroll. He's an established coach. He's going to get the job done. He's a leader of men. He's a adult in the room. We're not going to have question marks about, the locker room and preparation for a game. Pete's going to get the job done. And I loved, him talking about him growing up in the Bay Area and, being a Niner fan at first, and then the Raiders got a hold of him. He, said all the right things. I never like when people refer to NFL teams as programs, but whatever. Pete's in the college game. He can do whatever he wants. The best part by far was someone screaming, Raiders, and Pete Carroll sees him, and he's like, he quick. At 73 years old, he's still quick, though. He's like, yeah, there we go, man. Hey, Mark Davis, calm down a little bit. Like, almost like, like not making fun of Mark, but also like kind of a, like a little jab. Like, he could do that because he's Pete Carroll. Then you find out it's Marshawn Lynch, and that makes it even better. So I came away with, this is finally trending in the right direction of, this team is going to be respectable once again. Then we got it. we have somebody with his credibility and everything that he's accomplished in the past that finally someone wanted to come here and change the culture, and he called out Max Crosby and how he was going to lead this team, and I just came away with good vibes with Pete Carroll as head coach, man.
I did too. And I don't know how you can look at it any other way. Obviously, he has to make the right hires. I want to see who his coordinators are going to be. It might just be a rebrand of, the Seahawks coaching staff, which I'm not totally against, because the Seahawks had a lot of success with old Petey there and his staff. Yeah, the Spytech, actually, you could tell he was nervous. His hands were shaking when he was doing his statement.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
His opening statement. Yeah, because I had the thing on full screen on my laptop, so I'm just like I'm zoning in, and you could see him a little nervous up there. Whereas Pete, I talked about it last week. He was doing a Q&A in front of this big ass crowd in Seattle, and he had the microphone like he's in a boy band, the earpiece.
Yeah. I know.
He does this stuff all the time. This is nothing new to him. It was a cakewalk. So you could tell there was a little bit of that energy there. And the only thing that would concern me would be Carroll not trusting Spytech's word, being like, what have you done? I've been in this,
but I don't get that vibe.
But I don't get that either. I don't get that at all. And I do think there's going to be a lot of trust there. And I think what Pete Carroll is mostly going to have some input on is the run game and the defense. I think Tom Brady and Spytech are going to work together to find their franchise quarterback. He's going to let them focus on that. It sounds like Carroll is going to be way more involved with the running back, who they choose there to be their starter, and the defense. I mean, sucks for Seahawks fans, but maybe he did learn his lesson about running the football with Marshawn there, because those are the two things that he said. Must focus on running the football and playing good defense and nothing else. I don't know. It's just a total breath of fresh air compared to a guy like Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce was a different kind of fresh air breath that you got from him, because he was more straightforward. And it's like, oh, this is cool. We got a guy's guy. We got a locker room guy who's the head coach. But come to find out that he didn't really have much of a plan. He was just kind of flying by the seat of his pants and just improvising along the way. Whereas Carroll, he got back into this, and I really do believe him when he says he's not really worried about rings or accolades. He truly does this just because he loves the game of football and loves to be involved in it. And I think it really goes back to a lot of these coaches. They're addicted to this stuff. And Pete Carroll is an addict. I truly think that, a football addict, and that's what they got right now. He's not trying to prove himself or anything. He just wants to be involved, and the Raiders opened their door. And Ernie saying Vegas isn't the Bay. That's also what sucks about this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's the reason that guys are going to the Raiders is because of who they established themselves as in the Bay Area. They're not going there just because they want to be in Vegas. You didn't hear any mention of Vegas. You heard them want to join the Raiders because of what John Spytech was more just, I think he found a job and he just took it. But that's the shitty part about all of this, is the Raiders are they're synonymous with Oakland.
They're Oakland.
And now they're still Las Vegas. So that's a downer. So thanks for reminding us, Ernie, and bringing this podcast to a screeching halt.
Seriously. No, I mean,
God damn it, Ernie, you haven't supported us one bit.
It would have been cool for I'm going to the Ricky Henderson Celebration of Life this Saturday, and it's not going to be in the Coliseum, but Ricky Henderson was a diehard Raider fan too. And that's how most people remember the Raiders, is the Oakland Raiders. And the way that Pete was talking about it, he was I grew up in the Bay Area. I probably was more a Niner fan than a Raider fan, but he knew the importance of the Raiders. He talked about Al Davis and just the everything, the history with the organization. So you could tell he loves this, and he didn't come across desperate. I'm an old man. I don't want to die without coaching a team again. So no, it came across like he's going to change some things. And yes. They mentioned Tom Brady, and he was funny about it, the lady asking the questions, and He goes, "You guys have mentioned Tom Brady a lot," and he goes, "Am I mentioning him too much?" Like it was Pete was funny. It's kind of like having Jim Harbaugh, but an older Jim Harbaugh, not as weird. Like Pete does some weird stuff, but he's kind of more laid back and chill. And I love that Max Crosby was there. It seems like they'll get along together great. And yeah, I do believe that. Yeah, as you said, Steven, they're going to focus on the running game. I think that probably Najee Harris is the name you're going to hear the most, I would think, as far as like a bell cow guy, because I don't know if Pittsburgh wants him back. But yeah, I'm excited. I do think it's going to take a long time. I don't think it's going to be a quick turnaround. I think they'll be competitive in their first year. But to expect playoffs and all that stuff, I'm going to pump the brakes on that. We'll see what the roster is. But I think they're trending in the right direction with Pete Carroll. I really do.
Yeah. I don't know how you can walk away from watching that press conference not feeling just a little more optimistic. And, AJ said Pete can only do so much. Mark Davis needs to sell the team so they can establish a new culture, aka the commies shit canning Snyder.
It's different.
It is a little bit different. And also, AJ, I told you, just expect the Chiefs to win.
Yep,
Chiefs are going to win.
But at the same time, a big reason why they did this is because of the other coaches in that division. And I think that Pete gives you a chance against Andy Reid and Jim Harbaugh and Sean Payton. So, and I love that he said, yeah, I'm 73 years old, but you know what? I don't feel that way. And don't let anybody ever tell you how old you are or how young you are. And he's inspiring, man. Like he doesn't maybe he seemed a little bit old when he couldn't hear the reporters or see them in the crowd. But like as far as just answering questions and being quick.
Raise your hand.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. He's like, oh, that question was for John. It wasn't for me. Okay. My apologies. My bad. No, he's well aware he's 73 years old, but he doesn't act like it. So yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know what to expect, but I don't think it's going to be the same old Raiders we've seen in the past. I don't think it's going to be the same Josh McDaniels or Antonio Pierce-led teams. Now, the funniest part was after the press conference when they asked Mark Davis about not landing Ben Johnson, and Mark Davis goes, "No, we didn't offer a deal to Ben Johnson. No, that didn't happen. No, not at all. Bullshit.
Yeah,
that's why Hondo and Vic and all these guys are writing about it. Come on,
Hondo got a good question.
He did
a great question from old Pete.
Yep. That and he called John Spytek when he was covering with the Detroit Lions, the whiz kid.
Yeah. I was keeping up with the live chat, the Raiders live chat.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem the fan base, at least the ones that are on social media,
they don't like
comment on those things. Yeah, not the biggest Hondo Carpenter fans out there.
Ooh. Yeah. Just the tweet I saw today from Hondo after the press conference. Raiders doing what they always do. Big old spread for the media. Gotta love that. I'm like, all right, Hondo. You're tapped in with the team very well. A little too well, if you ask me.
Yeah. Bullet points.
There
was ham. There was salami. There was turkey.
There was prosciutto. It was a good spread.
All sort of cold cuts.
Yeah. Okay, before we get out of here, just real quick, was watching the Warriors and Lakers game on Saturday night. It's clear. We can all see the standings and just be like, oh, the Warriors are on the cusp. No. They're not as good as the Lakers. They're not as good as most of these play-in teams right now. Quentin Post looks like a good young player. It had his moments against Anthony Davis. But all in all, Anthony Davis just owns the Warriors right now and always has since becoming a Laker.
Yeah, whenever he's healthy, he always has.
Yeah. So, Steph, good first half, bad second half. It was kind of the same deal against the Sacramento Kings. The reality is there's not a good not a good basketball team. I don't know what exactly they could do. You hear of the Vucevic rumors, and the Bulls want a first-round pick. The Warriors want a second-round pick. I don't even know if it's worth doing that. I would just play more Quentin Post off the bench, TJD, Kevon Looney. I don't know what you do, and I don't think you should do anything, honestly. I think at this point, just let it play out and then make major moves in the offseason. I don't know what those are, but I'm not holding my breath for anything major this season. I think it is what it is at this point. I don't think they're going to be. I think the ceiling is playing team, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I don't have high hopes for this team for the future as far as this season and then the off season. If they could swing a big trade, cool. But I think everybody needs to temper their expectations right now.
Well, Steph's taking a step back too. And I think that's just the cherry on top of this poopy ice cream that the Warriors have been rolling out here over these past few years. Like, I know he's voted an all-star starter and everything, but if you watch them on a night in, night out basis, whether it's the body language, I don't know what it is, but Steph's just not playing at the level that we're used to seeing him playing. And I think it's not like the age factor. I think that when we watched this documentary, when we watched The Court of Gold on Netflix, that's going to be coming out in mid-February. You not seen this?
No.
Yeah, it's the one where everyone was going nuts over that Kevin Durant quote.
The Olympic one?
Yeah, the Olympic one. I think you're going to see how much Steph put into that, and I think that kind of exhausted him.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think that really played a factor. So it's just a recipe for a season where they might not even reach the play-in this year. And I think you just got to hope for the off season and just wait. And I do think they have to make some sort of desperate trade this off season. I really do. Like, I forget about this whole mortgaging the future thing. I think the Warriors are just saying that to the media so they can hide the idea that they aren't going to, or they can at least get the idea out there that they're not going to make a trade before the deadline. I don't think they're going to keep that same energy this offseason. And I think that's really their only hope.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, like I was watching the pregame show with Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith, and they were talking about like how they, Kendrick Perkins was like, I can't believe that the Warriors and Steph Curry, he's the only superstar that doesn't have a number two. And then Stephen A's like, I know why he doesn't have a number two, because he doesn't cause problems. He doesn't he was expecting LeBron James to be like LeBron James and to go to management and bitch and complain that he's not getting great players, and that's just not Steph's style. He knows the deal. That's why, we should give Steph credit and blame at the same time for him being like, I don't want Larry Markkinen. I don't think it's good enough to get Jimmy Butler right now. I think that he's smart and deliberate, and when he tells Mike Dunleavy, this is not a good move right now. Let's wait for the actual big time move that's going to help me. Now, is that KD? I don't know. I don't know if KD at this point is going to help the Warriors like he did in the past. Giannis would be the best one, but I doubt Milwaukee would ever want to entertain trading him.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know what the move is. All I know is there's no move to be had right now during the season for them to be a better basketball team.
I love Otis. I love the positivity here.
Otis Bird, yeah.
Same,
I see,
and,
yeah.
And I love it. Steph, Pods, Wiggins, Draymond, TJD, Schroeder, Hield, Looney, Post, Kuminga, Moody, Slow-Mo. That's not a bad rotation once guys get healthy.
Nah, it is.
Not a bad rotation.
It's not a great one either.
It's not great. It's not, Washington Wizards bad or Utah Jazz bad, where all those teams are just gutting for Cooper Flagg at the number 1 pick. But
it's mid.
Trace Jackson Davis, no good. Schroeder and Hield, Quentin Post, still got a lot left to see.
Yeah. There are pieces.
They got guys, but when you look at the rest of the NBA, you need more than just a serviceable roster. You need guys who are just levels above everyone else, and they are not. I mean, I love you, Otis. I love you. But just naming names, it's not great.
It's not. And Kuminga will not be back for another 2 weeks, so will be after the trade deadline, and then Draymond's day to day. So I don't think anything's worth it right now.
I think this Kuminga injury is really bad too.
Yeah, and I don't, we'll see if he even signs a contract extension at this point. They may need to move him in the offseason as a sign and trade in order to get something bigger. So I wouldn't say just because they don't trade him at the trade deadline means that he's going to be with this team for the future. So we'll see. I did come away though, like, yeah, the games suck. Lakers are a better basketball team than the Warriors are right now. I did feel bad in the pregame show watching Bob Myers have to deal with Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith. Like, he was justifying how, like, they were going through the whole thing of should the Lakers or Warriors make a move, and Bob goes, it's difficult to make trades. As a guy that makes trades, it's difficult. And then Stephen A. and Kendrick just cut him off and are like, I don't want to hear that, Bob. I don't want to hear that at all. I don't give a damn if it's too hard. Who cares if it's too hard? You got to make a trade. The people out there watching this on TV right now don't care about how hard it is. Oh, it's too hard to make a deal. Come on, Bob. No one wants to hear that. And then Bob's like, okay, I'll just stop talking then. Like, he's given you real life, like, examples. He's been in those meetings where he had to tell Steph and Draymond, we're making this move. And you're just going to shut him down immediately because he's not a hot take artist? That's why Bob is too good for this shit. I would love to see Bob Myers, and I know Warrior fans would hate to see this. I'm all for it. Bob doesn't love doing this TV thing. I would love to see him go run an NBA team again.
Yeah, somewhere, anywhere. Skills. Was Derek doing Al Sharpton?
No, that's my Stephen A.
Solid Stephen A, man.
It's better than my Dion, I'd say.
Yeah. Al
Sharpton is more like, for goodness sake, let's eat some cake.
Kendrick Perkins literally said he lied on that show because the ESPN producers told him who to pick.
Yeah.
How does anyone take ESPN seriously anymore?
I'll just do what they tell me to do.
With what they're rolling out.
That's what it was, Kendrick.
Right now.
You see, it's kind of got some Cosby in him. Well, that sounds weird.
Moses.
No one wants to hear that, Bob, about can't make a trade. Come on now.
That time when you drafted Moses Moody. Moody Mosey. Yeah.
We just Bob deserves better because he's actually pretty good on the broadcast. Like that game the other night, the Sacramento game, where he was like, the Warriors have had 25 different starting lineups this year. That's not a recipe for success. like kind of like jabbing at Steve Kerr. So Bob's good on the broadcast. Stephen A. and him, like, you could tell he just fucking hates that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. Stephen A. is so full of himself, though. He's become. This is the sad kind of state of it. But Stephen A. Smith is more popular than half or even more than half of the players around the league. So he's his own brand now. He's just going to keep being that brand, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go off during a commercial break and Stephen A. says, "Oh, it's nothing personal. I'm just doing my thing for the camera," and all that sort of shit.
All right, Steven. That is all I got for tonight. Anything else?
Nope.
All righty then. All right, everybody. We will see you guys on Sunday. That's when we'll do the next broadcast. We got a lot of time. God, this is always a weird time. The week before the Super Bowl, the media row and all that stuff, the downtime, the Pro Bowl games being played. Nobody watches, including me.
You're not going to watch the tug of war or the what's it called? Is it the Gridiron Grill or the new quiz show that they have established?
Oh, they're doing that.
Where they have other teammates guests?
Are they doing dodgeball again?
They are doing dodgeball.
I mean, I'll watch that stuff, but like they actually play a game. Are they doing like a Pro Bowl game again?
Yo, yeah, it's the Pro Bowl games. They got the quiz show working.
I know they got the games, but are they playing like an actual game?
Oh, they will play a flag football game, yeah.
So it's a flag football game now.
Yeah, it's been a flag football game, Derek.
This is how little I pay attention to the Pro Bowl the last few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I maybe I'll watch like the throwing competition because that's always been fun. But nah, I will not get into it as much as in the past. Hopefully we get some news about what the Saints do at head coach. Sounds like it's leading into Mike McCarthy direction, but who knows? So yeah, we will be back on Sunday, and we'll supposedly get together with maybe Alexander Scott and Cody Elias for the Forgotten Sports podcast, do a little crossover episode. If we do it a little later in the day, what do you like? If we do like a 3:00 podcast, is that good enough for you, Steven?
When?
Sunday.
Yeah, I guess that works.
All righty, we'll figure it out. But we'll be back on Sunday. We also got some Raider roundtables and Niner roundtables set up, and we'll be breaking down this game for the next 2 weeks. Ugh. All right. To everybody in the chat tonight, to Rock a New Era, Ernie 2, AJ Cruz, Ernie 1, Otis Bird is the word. Skills report, Tacky for a little bit of time. Our new guy, Time Traveler, who's a Chiefs fan. We welcome everybody. Pat H, Danny Golding TV, and I believe that's it. All right, guys, we'll see you Sunday. Steven, say what you always say.
What do I always say? Travis Kelce, don't do that song again. Don't do Get Down Tonight. Just your opinion, man.